Okay, so first off, a warm welcome to any old subscribers and any new visitors. So today I'm going to try something a bit different. So as you can see, the screen orientation is a bit different. That will be because I'm using my laptop today and it's a touchscreen. So I want to test out, you know, whether it's going to be worth buying a pen soon for it. But right now I'm just going to use my fingers and then see how it plays out. So for today's video, I'm just going to go over knowing your clients. Oh, that is way too thick. Okay, let me try the mouse actually. So yeah, it's going over, nope, too slow. So going over the type of clients, and we're going to go for a list of 14. I may just have 7 on this layer and then 7 on the next layer. So as far as it goes for clients, sometimes when you're doing a major, you don't sometimes, well, okay, I'll say this from my experience. When I was younger, I think it occurred to me that let's say a gym would hire a web designer. I wouldn't figure it out because the only thing I would see gym as is some place you go to, exercise, and boom, you're done. But I didn't really think about there's marketing, there's websites, there's so many things that go into just creating a company and maintaining success and such as and just a lot of things. So that's just a little bit of a tangent, but let's just go ahead and start the list. So first kind of client we're gonna get is a nonprofit. Let's see if I can change the color. Uh-oh, it's blocking this. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, we go. So I'm gonna make it purple. Well, that's not purple. Yeah, purple. So first, it's gonna be nonprofit. Now, nonprofit can be, pantry organizations. What else? This is one for health. Oh, that is way too big. Okay, hold on. Yeah, this is gonna be difficult. I think this is way better on my tablet. But yeah, nonprofit. I'll just put nonprofit. It's just easier that way. So yeah, nonprofits. There's charities. Foundations. Little Bit Foundations. There's West Avenue Compassion. There's so many different nonprofit organizations. There's also the food bank as well. But generally, they're just advocacy groups that just help support the community that's missing, just basic items, or basic things like food, maybe even clothing, and such as. So, and sometimes, kind of like the design prompts, they center around the themes of, emotional storytelling sometimes, or just a sense of a connection with the people they're supporting, and yeah, it tells a story, and yeah, as I mentioned, it's emotional storytelling. So yeah, usually I like nonprofits because these are the and why I listen to this first is that these are the kind of clients that give you a chance, and I love that. I love that aspect is when someone sees the potential in you and then they just want to give you a chance. That I find that absolutely amazing, and that builds a special kind of connection. So that's why I listed it first. So the second is going to be small businesses. Small businesses, or maybe even like businesses in like still in like work in progress. Not that hasn't been. I think I spelled that wrong. Let me see. Yeah, businesses. Yeah, I just put S. So yeah, just small businesses. Small YouTube channel. And it's going to grow as a business, or maybe something they want to sell. Like more times than not, a product or an idea or a service, something like that. So. Not too many of this in my experience, except for maybe freelancing a bit, but not really professional business level yet. So not too much to say on this, unfortunately. But maybe I can mention, during my, I guess, application process for certain small or local business like food shops and stuff like that. I remember a lot of what I had to do was create like a story reflection for them, or like revise it for them, or even sometimes create some for them. And that's generally what I've done in this side of things, unfortunately. Not too much to say here, but a lot to say for the nonprofit, which is why I listed it first. But, you know, hopefully, as time goes on, there's much more to say with this category. But, yeah. Okay. So the next in list is corporate. Now, this one is interesting because sometimes you have to come off as very professional, as in, like, your artwork is already there. Like, it's already competent, obviously. And I put obviously, when it comes to this context of corporate, environment, there's always, first and foremost, there's always competency before, talk. But hopefully there's more of this as well. But, I understand too, like, your artwork does have to get like to a certain level, and you can reproduce it, and you can deliver on time. It's not as flexible as you would with someone that's giving you a chance, like a nonprofit or maybe a small business. But yeah, so hopefully, in future, as stated before, then some more opportunities with this category. So yeah, so next one is educational institutions or just schools. I think educational institutions. Yeah, that's too long. So schools, you can include, like, there's elementary, primary, there's like colleges, universities, etc. And for this, usually I'm pretty sure they you have, or like, what, you have to be seen as good as well, because sometimes the schools anyway have protocols of who they contact for those designs, or who they contact for designing. And obviously have to be professional, and you have to reproduce and everything. So, man, I think even the next one is the same thing, like healthcare providers. So I'll add that here. And not too much experience with these three, actually. So not much to say here, but hopefully in future, all things are bound to grow, and so is hopefully the experience in sort of expanding, like, the client cycle I can gain access to. So, and the next one is technology companies, I'll just put tech companies. And this one, not too much here either. I mean, man, a lot of it was gonna have to require me to advertise too, but not a lot of experience in here too, unfortunately. But the next one, yes, because at some point you're gonna have to combine web design and graphic design, and that is retail and e-commerce brands. Now, the only reason I mentioned, e-commerce or web design is because of that e-commerce tag with it, and obviously it's going to be online stores related. Sure, retail is physical, but when I mentioned web design and e-commerce come into play, that's already web development. And as my current experience grows, eventually or inevitably, I'm going to have to touch base on this properly. But so far, minimal experience, or current experience rather, and I can't specify for this one until I really maximize and make something out of it. So I guess to be continued on that one. So let me put that in red, actually. But it's a lot. It's a lot. But I think the first step is as always, is to be sort of informed so that you can know where you're going generally, and then know where to target next. So hopefully this says 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, it's 7. So this is the first 7. And yeah, I'll just write a new one. So let's create a new layer, make it black, put clients. Man, this is interesting. The pen just might be worth it for the laptop, but clients, the other 7, put other 7. So, and I think the first would be on the list would be hospitality and travel, and that would be dealing with like tourism. Not too much experience here, but I almost did, but not yet. Only because my interests don't exactly lie here. Maybe not yet, but yeah, not yet. But this category might be very interesting soon, but not yet at all. So, and the next one is going to be entertainment and media, and technically that could be YouTube, But right now I'm only doing like tutorials. I'm not. Well, I could count the thumbnails I'm doing right now, so I'll put that in red. Like YouTube thumbnails. Ugh, yeah, that pen might be worth it. But YouTube thumbnails. What else? Personal website, Google website. It's a bunch of other stuff, but even social media too. Yeah, it says media anyway, so I'll just count it as that. Yeah, and so there's a lot of stuff that I'm involved in with this one. So there's a lot to say about it, but because it's dealing with entertainment and media, that can be huge. So I rather give like a TLDR, but it's just a lot of showcasing. And when you showcase, it has to be healthy showcase. Whereas you show just the right amount of each category, like backgrounds, characters, or even single graphics, or also known as logo designs. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And so the next one is going to be government. Now, so far for this kind of experience, I've only had like a sub program experience, like okay, youth action board, for example, is like a program. Now, when I tried to do some more research about it, it wasn't like a government, like legit government program or government entity. Yeah, there we go. But it was a government program, so I don't know. Maybe I could put entity / programs, and the program side I'll have experience for it. And so far, oops, it it is professional. You do have to deliver on time, and I think the program side to it is like a good like building grounds before heading into corporate, because that's what it felt like, at least to me. You had to sort of scale out how long you would take for a particular design, and then obviously deliver, and obviously communicate proactively, and then and then have it easy for them to reach out to you, and you to reach out to them, and just pretty much basically just establishing good communication, good progress, and and then pay method. Let's see, pay method was never really specified. They also it felt like they gave me a chance to. I'm saying this because maybe they haven't established like a what is it, permanent way of protocol of they'll go to this specific vendor for this design, rather than go to a freelance for this specific design, then go and print out with the specific vendor. But like I said, from my experience, they gave me a chance, so it's been nothing but an amazing experience. And so I just want to include that, in as much as not an entity itself, I guess it's still a program, and I still would would love for it to be counted into one of the clients that you would deal with in design. So next one, no experience at all, but I am interested actually, but I would have to be really into it on what exactly I would be spelled it wrong, but it's a real estate agencies. So I will be honest, this feels a bit convoluted with real estate in general, just because I don't know too much about it. So like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out, but yeah, I just don't know too much about this category. So, and the next one is financial institutions, like a bank. This one is very interesting. This and kind of challenging too, because they do have protocols, but they also have like competitions whereby artists will like compete to post to put their mural design their mural design in these buildings. And so far, all I've done is just seen other murals, not really had a chance to partake in creating anything yet, or participating in any contest yet, but hopefully in future soon. So the next one is going to be events / wedding planners. So this one, the event might be a little bit too convoluted, it feels, but wedding planning, no experience yet at all. But hopefully, like I said, as always, in future, it expands. So wedding planning. I feel like I could just put planners or something. Yeah, that sounds better. And the last one would be freelancing. Now, sometimes our creative professionals, I'll be very honest. I think the more you get away from that freelancing environment, the more it's just helpful in general with you because, I mean, think about it. If you go on Fiverr, it's like the race to the bottom because you see like 20 and then below. But what you don't realize is that, like, depending on how you present yourself to, let's say, the government program, and there's manners there, there's communication, honesty, they're gonna vouch, they're gonna look for a compromise with you, whether it's extra pay to, compensate you for the materials you're going to use, or, replacement and stuff like that. I just find it better, either that or usually nonprofits. But I just found a way better experience doing that than the freelance environment. And even sometimes, let's say that, what if we cannot connect to friends and stuff like that? Then you go out there and go make friends. You go out there and see the differences, similarities, where you can, combine, help each other out, that sort of thing, instead of going to that, that kind of environment. Because in my experience, it's just a race to the bottom, and it just feels like if you're not maybe running this or that, or you're not already known, and people can search you up already, it's kind of very difficult to kind of grow from ground up to a level you want to be at, and it's not at a not a good pay, because you want to be paid for, the level of commitment you're going to be committing towards it, and you want to feel good about it. It's art, you're designing something, it's creative, there's less rules for it. It's not a, math problem or a physics problem or something like that, but it's something meant for you to be creative and have fun and really make a difference. So I just think you have to be really careful with that freelancing environment, like Fiverr, maybe even Upwork and stuff like that. Just to me, it just feels like really a race to the bottom. So that's it. So that's it for this video, and yeah, that's it as it goes for all 14 client types. Yeah, yeah, 14 client types. And so thank you for taking time to check out this video, and have a fantastic day.